guys, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Today we're going to take a look at shoes and how to tell when they're broken down and it's time for you to get a new pair so that you can stay injury-free during all of the mileage that you're doing for your training. So we're going to take a look at these shoes, and they should look pretty similar because they are the exact same shoe, just one is a little bit older than the other. So this is the Achy Guide. I've ran in the Achy Guide for many years now. However, I have ran in almost every brand out there, and I firmly believe that there is no one shoe that is the best shoe out there. So you really got to find what's best for you and find the shoe that's going to keep you healthy and feel good while you're training. So in order for us to look at the shoe and figure out if it's broken down or not, we're going to take a look at the bottom of the shoe. So it's important for you to examine the bottom of your sole of your shoe so that we can take a look at the wear pattern. So what you're looking for is, are you wearing out that heel portion of the shoe faster than you're wearing out the midsole, the ball of the foot, or the toe box? If that's the case, then you are a heavy heel striker, and we may want to make some adjustments to our gait to make sure that you're landing right underneath you with every step so that we're getting optimal power and force out of each foot strike. Okay. On the flip side, if we're wearing out the shoe up through the ball of the foot and the toe box and we're seeing no wear pattern in the heel, then that means our heels likely aren't touching down, or maybe they're only barely touching down on the ground, and this is going to put a lot of extra strain on our calves. So on the flip side there, we want to also make sure that we're adjusting the gait to avoid that as well, because the calves, although very, very strong muscles, we don't want to overtax them in every foot strike, especially through these longer races. So we want to find a more even wear pattern through the ball of the foot, the midsole, and the heel. And it should be even wearing. The other thing that we want to look for is, are we wearing out the shoe more on the inside of the foot or the outside of the foot, or are we wearing through the middle? Okay. When we're talking about the inside of the foot, so this is the medial side of the shoe where the arch is, this would indicate that we're a heavy pronator. So somebody who's going to roll from the outside in and toe off in the front. Okay. If you are like me, you wear a stability shoe, which helps prevent that overpronation, because I, on my right side, do it heavily. So this shoe helps me with that. Okay. If you're looking at the outside of the foot, if you're seeing a heavy wear pattern here, which is less likely, it's less common in runners, typically only about 5% of people over-supinate when they run, but if you do start to see this here, you definitely want to make sure that you're not running in a stability shoe, because that stability shoe is going to keep pushing you back this way. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding that. So you can learn a lot from your gait and just your running pattern just by looking at the bottom of your shoe and identifying where we might need to make some adjustments. Now to check if the cushioning has broken down, certainly we can do a visual test. So if we start to see some of that white cushioning pop through instead of the color on the bottom of the shoe, this is definitely a sign that we need to replace that shoe. It's broken down. This is typically the point where if you're out for a run and you feel like you're running on the rocks themselves without shoes on, if you're running over gravel, definitely at the point where the shoe has broken down and we need to swap them out for a nice new pair, or maybe we start cycling them. So by cycling, I mean we may wear the older pair one day, swap to a new pair the next day, and kind of cycle out that way until it's exhausted its life. The other way to check is to hold the shoe perpendicular to you out in front. You're going to grab it with two hands and check for flexibility through the toe box and through the ball of the foot. So as you can see, I can't budge this one at all. So again, holding on the side, from the side, I cannot move this shoe. Okay, so good indication that this shoe has some life left in it. Most shoes last for about 300 to 500 miles, depending on the brand or depending on the type of shoe. So certainly this shoe has not reached that mark yet, and it still has some life. It's going to keep providing me that cushioning and stability I need to stay injury-free as I'm building up my mileage. If we look on the flip side of that, so if we got an older shoe here, again, hold straight out in front of us, squeeze the shoe, you can see that I can relatively easily squeeze this shoe in half, okay? And I don't have the best grip strength in the world, and I can do that pretty easily. So this shoe has probably seen its best days already, and I can either cycle out this shoe or go ahead and replace it, which is what I chose to do when I purchased the new shoe. Okay, the other thing that you can do to help keep track of that is by writing just the date at which you started running in that shoe, so that you can keep track of the mileage. So I indicate the date just right here on the arch of the foot. It helps me remember when I started running in it, and I can total my mileage again so that I know when to start checking that tread pattern as well as just the breaking down of the shoe. And that can help keep me healthy, keep me from developing some of those nagging issues like plantar fasciitis, heel spurs, things like that, or even in worst case scenario, developing feet stress fractures or metatarsal stress fractures. So certainly it's going to be important as you're ramping up your mileage to continue to check your shoe for the health of the shoe so that it can continue to provide that cushioning and support for you. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys run out and you check all of your running shoes before you go out for that next run. And I look forward to teaching you some more training tips next week at Coach's Corner.